and carefully left the room. Chapter Graham.
Okay, so this is a new one.
Kenneth peeked into his parents' open room. There was no one inside. He heard that someone was cleaning the first floor after the beaten predator's visit. Kenneth decided to go to the attic to finally deal with the monster issue. As soon as Kenneth opened the door, thick darkness embraced him. He couldn't see anything in front of him, so he left the door open. He began to go up the stairs, hearing a treacherous creak under each step. As he was getting higher, the door slammed shut under its weight, taking the last beam of light. Kenneth froze in the middle. He stumbled a few times upon all the forgotten things of the Murphy family while trying to find some kind of switch. He felt a cord hanging from the ceiling and pulled it without thinking. And he was right. It was the switch of a light bulb. Not very bright, though. Esme had told him about other people's monster drawings in the attic, but he didn't pay much attention to it until today. After looking through some stuff, Kenneth noticed an old military box in the corner. After moving a heavy lid, Kenneth found a pile of things: photographs, military uniform, some papers. The first thing he took was a photo of his father in a uniform. He seems happier here than in real life. At the back of the frame, Kenneth noticed some inscriptions behind the broken piece of plywood holding the photo.
It's up to me again.
He took out the photo and saw a message to his father. To my dear childhood friend, Graham Murphy, from a desk mate and a comrade in arms, Philip Hall. Together till the end. Under this photo, he saw another one in the drawer, a class photo. There was a silhouette drawn on it, very similar to the way Esme drew the monster. Well, Esme wasn't lying. I don't think she did it. In the photo, his father stood next to his comrade from the last photo. Kenneth recognized him by his hair. The monster was scratched with a black pen on top of some teacher. The last thing Kenneth noticed was a dusty notebook. It's my father's notebook. As Kenneth was flipping through the notebook, he saw nothing except a dialogue in the margins. You need to tell someone about this. I can't, I'll get kicked out. If you don't do it, I will. Don't! Please, I'll figure something out. Graham's school years, the 1930s. Graham, you don't want to upset your mother, do you? Your mom is a wonderful woman who works several jobs for you. What if she finds out you have trouble studying? Don't worry, it doesn't hurt anymore, does it?
So, the teacher is the monster?
The door slammed shut behind Kenneth. He turned around and saw his father. "Put everything back and close the drawer." Frightened, Kenneth followed the instructions, despite things slipping out of his hands. I'm sorry." Dad was standing there keeping Kenneth out of the way. "What were you doing here?" "I was looking for a monster." Bram pulled an old wooden chair out of the darkness and sat down in front of Kenneth. "You don't believe this nonsense, do you?" "What about you?" "What are you talking about?" "Well, you drew the same monster as Esme." Bram was a little confused, but tried not to show it. "How do you know?" "Did you go through my stuff?" "Esme told me there was a monster in the attic, just like the one in her diary." "What, this diary?" He showed Kenneth Esme's diary. "Well, where did you get it? It's not yours." "Well, didn't you think that the drawings in the attic could be hers?" "I did. That's why I came to make sure." "And it's not her monster." "No, but whose then?"
Yours.
"It's yours." Bram looked away. What do you mean?" "Esme wasn't lying." Bram froze. Bram showed no emotion, but he moved, letting Kenneth know that he could leave if he wanted. "Well, what are you going to do now?" "Well, I'll apologize to Esme that I didn't trust her." Bram gave a surprised grimace of incomprehension. "And you should do the same." "Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. Where are you going?" "To my room. Esme's been talking about the monster all day." Kenneth was angry because everything that happened to him seemed unfair. "She felt sorry for you." "For what?" "You've been so sullen and angry." Bram teared up. "No one believed her, and you knew but kept quiet. You drew the same thing." Bram handed Kenneth Esme's diary. Kenneth snatched the diary from his father's hands. "Esme entrusted this diary to me. You won't get it." Kenneth left the attic angrily and headed to Esme to tell her everything. He approached Esme's bed and saw her asleep.
No, she's still here now.
Kenneth sat on the floor, leaning on her bed. Kenneth fell asleep. He woke up to a light patting on the shoulder. "Wake up, big guy." Kenneth saw his father ready to go somewhere.
Oh no.
Forgive me. Kenneth looked around the room but did not find Esme. For what? And where's Esme? Now listen to me. Listen carefully. Esme's gone. He's not coming. You have to accept that. My whole life was making me do terrible things. I couldn't stop. Bram reached into his pockets. He took Kenneth's hand and put a military medal for valor in it. I don't deserve this medal. Now I'm giving it to you. Bram reached into his pocket once again, took out the house keys, and handed them to Kenneth. You're the head of the family now. Don't let anyone near you, your house, or your mother. No one who looks anything like me. Bram pointed to his gloomy, bristly face, although it was unlikely he was referring to appearance. I've already talked to your mom. Take care of her. A howl of police sirens was coming. I've got to go. Stay in the house until I'm gone. Mother appeared in the doorway. Her eyes were empty. She and his father, emotionally devastated, looked at each other, but his father did not deviate from his plan and walked out of the house. Kenneth and his mother were looking out the window. Bram Murphy, hands up! Bram put his hands behind his head, but he didn't stop. Take me away, then go to them. The police car with Bram was driving away until it completely disappeared. The uniformed men approached the Murphy house. They knocked on the front door. Mom tried to open the door, but Kenneth held her hand. There could be monsters. Kenneth showed his mom a set of keys. I'll open it.
Oh, come on. Just the front. So... I mean, technically it's a better ending because dad ain't dead. But how did the daughter die? Was it the father who killed her, or... We know the monster is just a bad person now, right? But the father was one of the teachers. For the daughter, maybe the father? Because at first they did say the father is a monster. So assuming it's the father killed the daughter then. And the endings we've seen now, especially the last one, it might be possible that the father finally got remorse, called the cops on what he did. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see what we can do here that's different.
Chapter Escape.
I'm assuming the change here is going to be checking the shed.
I'm sorry.
Or believe her that there is a monster.
If we run into the monster, I'll give it a piece of my mind. It was very frightening. But you getting away already means you beat it. Do you believe me? Kenneth gave his sister an approving nod to reassure her. Esme was soaking wet, and her small steps were accompanied by squelching sounds. Kenneth stopped and helped Esme pour the water out of her boots. Do you remember Baloo?
Alright, sure.
Well, of course I remember. Will you give me his collar? It's just hanging on your backpack. No, and don't you dare touch it. At that moment, they had almost reached the plot, surrounded by a fence, looking fairly battered after all the years. As soon as they crossed it, something frightened Esme. She froze, pointing her finger toward the shed at the pier. Oh, hear that? What? There's a monster!
Okay, well, that we've done, so let's...
Well, let's go home, or we'll get in trouble. As if she had heard something, Esme began to make a whining sound.
Let's believe the whole monster shindig.
Well, it's going to be okay. Come on. But he will come at night.
Alright, let's see if we end up somewhere new.
Well, we'll make sure there aren't any monsters and go home, okay? Well, have you ever seen it? Oh, the monster? Yep. Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. Honestly, what is it like? Big and scary? Oh, that's it. Why doesn't anyone believe me? I really did see it. Well, I believe you. Chapter Monster.
That's new.
Thunder rumbled. Oh, let's kill the monster. Esme grabbed Kenneth by the arm, causing her pajamas to roll up, exposing her bruised wrists. Oh, he'll catch me again.
So is she talking about the father now?
For a moment, Kenneth believed in the monster, but he doubted again, remembering that her bruises were due to a lack of vitamins.
Well, yeah, that's what they told
Their parents thought it was genetic, so they stuffed Esme with nasty fish oil and greens. Well, did you see it again? Oh, it's at the pier. Oh, we already checked it, and no one was there. Oh, I saw it out the window. It's there again. Come quickly. You're not afraid to go? But you promised to give it a piece of your mind. Okay, but we need to be prepared. Kenneth had a certain quality. If he was going to do something, he took it seriously. He went unhesitatingly toward the closet to dress Esme in her warm clothes before going and opened the doors. After seeing the number of varieties of girlish clothes, he momentarily froze, bound by the thought process. Then he turned to Esme with the most serious expression. Dress warmly. How does Mom dress you? He took the backpack with Baloo's collar. A Swiss Army knife was hanging next to it. Then he rushed to his nightstand and took out a flashlight that he almost forgot. He put on an old knitted sweater and stood by the door, waiting for Esme. For a moment, Esme froze, staring into the back of the closet. Thunder rumbled. Are you okay? Esme slowly turned her head to Kenneth. A jacket with pockets or a blue sweater? Kenneth exhaled, rolling his eyes, expressing indifference to girlish fashion, and defiantly stretched his hands, pointing to the door. Esme looked at the nightstand where her diary was. Oh, you won't leave it like that, will you? Oh, of course not. He put the diary in his backpack and, taking Esme by the hand, slipped quietly down the stairs. In their parents' room, the TV was mumbling unintelligibly. It was the only source of light, so it was easy to sneak past it. When they found themselves on the street, it seemed that half the battle was over. Ahead, there was only adventurous excitement and the fear of being caught and punished. Shh! Quietly! Creeping up to the flower garden, Kenneth took on the role of a monster hunter. He put an open backpack near the pile of stones and gestured to Esme to help him put them inside.
What? I'm gonna smack it with a backpack of stones.
The backpack was getting heavy. Oh, that will do. Well, let's go. Esme called Kenneth unexpectedly loudly, forcing him to duck. Shh! What's the matter? Esme put a couple of stones in a large pocket of her sweater. The silhouettes of every bush or tree in the distance began to come to life. A shiver ran down Kenneth's spine. The determination Kenneth had a few minutes ago was rapidly leaving him. His father's building was shrouded in the fog, giving weight to the beam of the flashlight. The hinges of the old door were so loosened that even the locked latch did not prevent it from giving off a terrible creak, especially now in the night. As they unlocked the latch, the wind blew out from over the water, and the doors banged open, throwing Esme and Kenneth away on the ground. Junk from the shelves rolled to the ground. On impact, Kenneth with Esme fell down, dropping the flashlight, the only light source. A noise came from the shed. Oh, the monster's here! Kenneth looked up and saw with his own eyes the lights burning from the depths of the shed. Oh, let him have it!
So that's going to be a fox, right?
First went the collected stones that flew right between the burning eyes. After that went any junk falling from the rack, some cans and tools and bundles. Thunder rumbled. The silhouette disappeared along with the fog. Kenneth grabbed Esme's hand and ran out of the shed. Oh, did you see that? Well, of course. How could I not? And you didn't believe me.
Yes, we did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, the first time around.
Esme looked down to the ground as if she was holding something back. What's the matter? It wasn't that monster. What do you mean by that? He's not alone? Oh, this one was different. The conversation was interrupted by a bright flash of light in their faces.
Here comes Daddy.
A moment later, the beam from the flashlight fell to their feet. Their drunken father was in front of Kenneth with a rifle and the flashlight, which Kenneth had just dropped. Oh, what are you doing out here? Oh, what a mess!
Okay, so we're going full on, we believe the monster thing, right?
Oh, there's a monster in the shed. Because of this, you made this havoc? You just scared that thing off. Now go home now, or I'll make you clean all that up. Kenneth hugged Esme and sent her forward to protect her from Father's anger. While passing the flower bed, Esme correctly noted its state. Oh, Mom will kill us.
With a smile on her face.
No, we'll explain everything. Oh, wait. Esme stopped suddenly and pulled Kenneth's sleeve. Where's my diary? Esme showed her backpack. It was opened. Oh, I have it. It was here somewhere. Oh, we lost it at the pier. But Dad is there. We can't go back. He told us to go home. We have to get the diary. I entrusted it to you. You can't do this. Something dark and large swept through the bushes in the garden, mowing over some branches and flowers. Kenneth jumped aside in fright, but Esme seemed glad. Oh, it's Shadow. He'll help us. Oh? A shadow. Kenneth defiantly rolled his eyes, demanding an explanation.
Please do.
Oh, he's nice. He'll help us. Let's go get the diary back. Oh, what is that shadow? How many more monsters do we have around? Well, he's not a monster. I mean, well, I was afraid of him too. But he helped me many times hide from the other monster. Kenneth looked around nervously. Oh, where did he go? Well, don't you see him? A large silhouette had grown behind Esme, resembling something between thick fog and light-absorbing darkness.
What?
Kenneth stepped back, pointing at the creature behind Esme. Oh, don't be afraid. Thick darkness came upon Esme, slowly swallowing her from head to toe until there was only a hand outstretched to Kenneth.
Yeah, that'll freak a normal person out.
Oh, come quickly. He will help us. Esme grabbed Kenneth's arm and dragged him into the darkness. Kenneth clutched his head and closed his eyes briefly, but then he saw Esme beside him. As long as we're inside, no one will see us. Kenneth and Esme headed for the pier, along the bushes at the edge of the plot. Despite the lost diary, Esme was pleased with what was happening. Well, I'm glad you believed me. Now I can tell you everything.
Okay.
Well, like what? Later. When they reached the pier, Kenneth saw his father sorting out the debris in the shed that he and Esme had made. The shed door was open. The diary was right in front of it. Kenneth left Esme behind. He decided to sneak in and get the book alone. Of course, with the help of Shadow. He will help you.
Or swallow you whole.
Kenneth crept to the door and hid behind it. Then he reached for the diary. Suddenly, he heard his father's steps. He was holding a kerosene lamp. The light from the lamp shone in the doorway. Shadow began to sizzle like on a frying pan, but kept the darkness.
What, we're gonna have to do a maze now?
Kenneth grabbed the diary and ran headlong toward the house, bringing Esme with him. Oh, it worked! I got it! I got it! Shadow was incredible. They were already near the house under the kitchen windows when the light turned on suddenly, and with the sound of hissing oil, dissolved Kenneth's new friend. Kenneth and Esme ducked down. In the window, they could see their mother looking in the direction of the pier. Kenneth and Esme whispered, Oh, is he dead? No, he will come back, as always.
Well, technically he is dead, but, you know.
He just doesn't like the bright light. Does it hurt? Esme shrugged. Probably not. Why else would he come back every time? Well, let's go inside. Well, let's take a walk.
So this could... Alright, fine.
Just for a bit. Now, you see everything too. I have so much to tell you. You mean monsters? Not all of them are monsters. I mean, they're not all evil. Now, don't tell me you're friends with them. Well, they're my only friends.
Ouch.
Kenneth made an indignant face. Why, besides you're my brother. It doesn't count. Have you ever heard Mom sing? I can't remember. Probably when I was little. Her voice is wonderful. Esme grabbed Kenneth's arm and led him into the backyard. Listen. Quiet melodies were trailing over from the old well's direction. Oh, is it really Mom? Could have been Mom. That is her monster. Now you can see it. Oh, I don't like this anymore. What kind of monster sings in Mom's voice? He's not evil. Probably. He told me that a long time ago, before we were born, she had a beautiful voice. She loved to sing. But later, she gave up on singing, and that's when he appeared, that monster. Well, did he take Mom's voice? Let's throw some stones at him.
No.
Kenneth showed Esme his backpack. There were some stones left from the hunt for the first monster. Oh, he said that he hadn't done anything wrong, that Mom raised him herself. Does Mom see monsters? I don't know, but she doesn't see this one, and it makes him sad. She likes her voice very much. They heard the creaking of the closing door of the shed on the pier, and then steps. Kenneth and Esme ran to the corner of the house and saw their father coming. Do you remember Dad smiling? Nope, he's always serious. Sometimes he smiles when he sleeps, when Mate comes to him.
So that's his army buddy then.
Mate. You remember when Dad told you about his childhood friend he grew up with? His friend was shot in the war, and Dad survived. Oh, you mean Philip? You called Dad's dead friend's monster Mate? Esme looked at the floor guiltily. He just has a very kind smile. Well, you can't. Who would call monsters by name? Monster Philip. Very funny. And he likes being called Mate. At least, he didn't mind. How about we give your monster a name? Well, my monster.
Hmm?
The one in the shed. I'm confused. He didn't look like mine. Have you seen the monster in the shed? I don't know. I didn't get a good look.
We'll call him Shifty.
We scared your monster because of me. What if he's not evil?
What if he is?
Well, maybe it wasn't a monster at all. I'm tired. Let's go home. No way. You saw Shadow. You heard Mom's monster. You want to leave me again?
Hmm?
Esme ran toward the old well. A wolf or a dog. Kenneth ran after her. My monster looked like a wolf or a dog. Esme stopped at the well. I know, I saw him. I wanted you to come clean. Everyone pretends not to see their own monsters, even if monsters are standing right in front of them. They don't believe me. They think I'm stupid. No one thinks you're stupid.